Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Grogan, and this is some notes and an assignment on credit reports. Um, and what we're going to do is the next couple of assignments, which are actually going to be relatively brief assignments, we'll deal with credit reports. Credit reports are um, not something that you will be handling on a daily basis, but it is something that you do need to keep tabs on throughout your working career. Um, Credit reports are very important in the sense that they determine your credit worthiness, and it will have a huge effect on whether or not you can get a um, decent deal on a car loan, a mortgage, even credit cards. All right, it's a way that not only credit card companies but also banks, landlords. They use credit reports as a way to determine how well you are able to pay off a loan or pay off any kind of bill. And that's why it is very important that once you get a credit card, or if you take out any kind of loan, like a student loan, for instance, that you want to make sure that you're making the payments on time. All right. And that you're keeping up with the payments, because if not, it will have a negative effect on your credit score. All right. And the next assignment that we're going to be doing will be going into credit scores. This assignment will deal with credit reports. This document right here is some notes on this. I will be posting it on Google Classroom. All right. And uh, when it comes to a credit report, all right, there is most credit agencies, and there are three of them. They will determine your credit score by what's called the three C's of credit. It's called capacity, character, and collateral. All right, the capacity refers to the loan applicant's ability to repay the debt in question. All right, so it determines your source of income, if what kind of job you have and whatnot, and how much you make at your job, how much money you make, the debts that you have. Could be a loan, any kind of like bank loan or auto loan, mortgage, home equity, right? Alimony, child support. Those two are alimony and child support. Alimony in particular is if you get married and end up getting divorced. Alimony is money that you would owe your spouse. Child support is if you have a child with someone and you are no longer with that person. If the child lives with the other custodial parent, then that would mean that you'd have to pay child support to that other custodial parent. So that way that they can that they can buy clothes for the child and take care of any kind of medical bills and things of that nature. Right. So the capacity is very important. Character, that's used as a way to determine whether you're honest and reliable, likely to pay debts, meaning that how often do you pay your bills? And this also goes not only just for paying off like a credit card bill, but also goes towards paying a cable bill, a cell phone bill, because if you fall behind a few months on paying off a cell phone bill or a cable bill, the credit debt collector agencies will be notified, and whenever they get notified, it will have a negative effect on your credit score. So you want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time. All right. Also, how long you've been at your present address or job. All right. If you've lived in the same place for several years and you've been at the same job for several years, that will actually have a positive effect on your credit score. And I will get to that in a few minutes. Collateral. All right. That refers to assets that could be sold off to pay your loan in the event that you could not do so. So let's just say if you take out a loan for a car, all right, and like a $20,000 loan for a car, all right, you have a job at the time that you take out the loan, but let's just say 6 months in, you lose your job, you get hurt on the job, and for whatever reason you have trouble finding another one, or if you do find another one, you end up getting paid about 50% less than you were at your prior job, and at which point you're not really able to keep up with the payments. Okay. So when that happens, if you have other assets that you can sell off to help make those payments, like for instance, like selling the car, or if you have anything of value that you can sell to help pay off your debts, that's what they mean by collateral. Okay. Checking and savings account, if you have stocks, all right. do you have anything of value? I mean, obviously the most common ones are a house, a car, a boat. I mean, it could be, like Michael Jordan's rookie card. Okay. Anything that you have of value. All right. And it could be, like expensive watches. That's an asset. That's something that anything that you can sell off of value to pay off any debt that you have. Right? That's what they mean by collateral. Hopefully you'll never have to end up doing something like that down the road. But if you do, that's, that's one way to save your credit score. All right. Now, the credit scores, okay, and there's going to be another assignment on this later in the week that will deal a little bit more specifically with credit scores, okay? But your credit score is based on 5 factors, okay? And I listed them in order, and they are actually in order of importance, okay? The credit score is based on 5 factors: payment history, the amount that you owe, length of credit history, the types of credit, and the new credit and inquiries, okay? The most important one, and this is used by all credit agencies, your payment history is the most important, okay? And so it's, like I said earlier, it's very important that you make your payments on time, okay? And, if you're a few months late on making a payment, it's going to have a negative effect on your credit score, all right? So you want to make sure that if you have bills for credit card, cell phone, cable, or electricity, okay, you want to make sure that you are making your payments on time, all right? The amounts owed, that is very important as well. Not quite as important as the payment history, but it's still very, very important, okay? It's the amount of debt that you currently owe. So if you take out a $20,000 loan that you plan on paying off in 6 years, we'll say, all right? If you get your credit score 2 years down the road, let's just say you're making your payments on time, all right? You still, after 2 years, you're probably still going to owe, we'll say, about 12, 13,000 on that loan, okay? The amounts owed, that is debt. That is currently debt you owe, all right? So if you take out a loan and you're on your way to paying it off, but you're still let's just say, again, $20,000 loan, you've paid off 8,000 of it, okay? But that 12,000 that you haven't paid off, that's debt. All right. That's money that you currently owe. All right. So that's something that if you take out a loan, it will have an effect on your credit score. All right. If you're making payments on time on that loan, all right, that will have a good effect on your credit score. But still, if you have debt, that will have a little bit of a negative effect on your credit score. All right. So, all right. And many lenders, one thing you want to keep in mind is that many lenders will not make loans to individuals who are spending 25% of their gross income. All right. And that's money before taxes get taken out, by the way. If you're spending 25% of your gross income, so let's just say if you make $100,000 a year and you're spending 30,000 on paying off debts, that's not good. Okay. Because you got to keep in mind that you're probably spending, maybe a third of your income just on rent, and another third on a wide variety of other things. All right. If you're spending more than 25% of your gross income to repay debt, that's not good. And a lot of lenders will be hesitant on giving you a loan if you wish to have one. Okay. So, all right. So that's something that you want to keep in mind there. All right. Length of the last 3, all right, the length of credit history, okay, it's about 15%, okay? The length of time that you've had credit affects your credit score. Now, anytime when you take out or if you get a credit card when you're like 19 or 20 years old, okay, that's actually a good thing, okay? Because that'll, you want to be able to build credit over time, okay? So if you have a credit card, if you get a credit card at like say 18, 19 years old, right, that means that you're going to have a credit history right off the bat, okay? And the longer that you have that credit card, it will actually have a positive effect on your credit score, all right? So if you have, let's just say by the time you're 30, you've had credit for over 10 years, that's actually a good thing, all right? It's a lot better that you've had credit and you've made your payments on time, but the longer that you have a credit history for, that's a good thing, okay? Because that at least shows to to a bank or to a landlord, to anyone that's determining whether or not to give you a loan. If you have a significant length of credit history, that's actually a good thing because they have more of a history to draw upon, of whether you've made your payments on time or whether you've taken out exorbitant amounts of money in debt, that kind of thing. And also, sometimes there are people to encourage to keep old accounts open, all right, with no balance. That can help their credit score. Not a lot, but a little bit. All right. The types of credit, lenders like to see a mix of credit cards and installment loans. All right. But as you know, it's more important to pay your bills on time to have a wide variety in your credit profile. And also, each time that you apply for credit, the lender will request your credit report. Okay. These requests will sometimes reduce your credit score, not by a lot. Not by a lot, though. All right. But if you have like a bunch of lenders like checking your credit score, that can have a negative, significantly negative effect. But if it gets checked in every once in a while, that's not a bad thing. All right. So as I said, really, when it comes to all of this, all right, the most important thing when it comes to your credit score, all right, of these 5 factors, the payment history and the amounts owed are by far the most important parts. Okay. The length of, the last 3, the length of credit history, the types of credit, new credit and inquiries, it plays a factor, but not a huge one. All right. As long as you're making your payments on time and you're not taking out huge amounts of money in debt, you'll be okay. All right. You want to limit the amount of debt that you take on. You don't want to take out like huge loans or rack up a 5-figure, at least 10, if you don't want to rack up like $10,000, $20,000 in credit card debt, and you want to pay your bills on time. That's really the 2 most important things to maintaining a good credit score. All right. As I said, you do want to have, if you get a credit card right out of high school, you should be all right with the length of credit history because eventually over time that will have a positive effect on your credit score. If you have a mix of loans and credit cards, that's something you may want to do down the road, but not right out of high school or right out of college. All right. And, if you apply for a bunch of credit cards at once, it probably will have a negative effect on your credit score just because the lender will want to look at your credit score before determining whether or not you want a credit card. So you want to space it out a little bit over time when it comes to applying for credit. Okay. So the assignment that I posted, all right, it is on reading a credit report. You can request these at least once a year. All right. And you can get like a document that gets sent to you. All right. And and the credit scores or the credit reports will look, depending on what agency you use, there's, it could look different, but there's a general format to all of it. All right. There is a link here that will help you understand reading a credit report a little bit better. You may want to review that. Okay. And one reason why you want to get look at your credit report at least once a year is just to check to see if there's any discrepancies or any mistakes on there. Mistakes do happen. All right. And oftentimes those mistakes will have a negative effect on your credit score. So you want to be able to spot it quickly before, if you want to buy, want to run into a situation where if you're looking to buy a house, but you can't because you have something negative on your credit score that you weren't even responsible for, that you were actually found out 2 years after the fact that you were a victim of credit fraud. All right. And that could have a serious effect on, helping you buy a car down the road or buying a house down the road or a boat. All right. Or taking out any kind of loan. All right. And so as I said, there are 3 major credit bureaus. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but it's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. All right. And when they send a credit report, each agency, the format may look a little different, but just the overall template is the same. Okay. So when you look at this, just review it. All right. And answer the questions that are on the bottom. They're relatively easy. I think there are 11 questions in all. All right. It shouldn't take you too long to do. All right. But if you have any questions on it, please let me know. There will be another assignment later on in the week that will be relatively easy. I'm going to make another video to show you how to do it. All right. And if you, as I said, if you have any questions, you can email me and let me know. All right. Thank you very much.